And we'll have the computer stations and the technology to do database searches. We'll be using AI and the rest. And I think in many cases we'll be very successful rapidly in reuniting them with family. And we'll facilitate that whole rendezvous. But before that happens, they're going to also be engaging with, you guessed it, with counselors, correct? And not just licensed counselors and psychologists, but therapists and counselors who have been specifically trained in dealing with individuals who've been on the street because they have very specific issues. Correct. Yes, that's going to be a big part of it, a solid part of it. And in addition to that, there's going to be ministry. Yes, our local clergy, our Christian churches, and our good friends at the Jewish synagogues, they want to get involved. Yes, they do. And I'm a huge supporter of it because I believe the prayerful interaction is something that we all understand. And we're not going to be, quote unquote, preaching religion. But if an individual really would like to join hands and pray, those individuals, meaning the clergy, will also be there. And I think that's just a beautiful touch. Well, I've come to the conclusion that nothing great happens without God. And more people are starting to agree with me, because if you look at what's happened in our country over the last 5 or 6 years and this great renaissance that we're involved in, many are calling it a revival. And who would have imagined that in 2030 we would have engaged space in the way we are and bringing back clean energy, that we have a public service mission, that we have citizen artists, a democratized media? It's just unbelievable. Obviously God's hand's involved. Okay, so let's pay him the proper respect. Good. Okay, so at this point, we've done our very, very best in reuniting these individuals with their family members. Yes, and that begs the question, what if they have no family? That will be the case in some instances. And that takes us to step 2, which are the, for lack of a better term, forgive me, Governor, I haven't come up with a better phrasing yet, but I'm calling them processing centers. Right, we'll come up with something better. But the processing centers are going to be places of solace where these fine people are going to be able to sleep and reside for a reasonable amount of time while they continue to receive their counseling, their medical care, because these centers will be staffed with medical doctors, and also interaction with the clergy of their choice. Correct, the spiritual leaders of their choice. Yes. Well, it's an interesting irony. They may not want to leave. These centers are going to be really, really quite beautiful. And there's a balance there. We want to make them beautiful to inspire, but we certainly don't want anyone to think that this is the end point of their lives. In fact, and yes, I agree with you, no happier a day will there be for me that we take down these processing centers and they become a distant remnant of history. But for the time we need them, they should be world class, they should be staffed with the finest professionals, and they should be teeming with compassion and care. And we can do that. And our young people want to get involved too, apparently. Right, through the public service mission. So they'll be there too, and we're going to be amazingly successful in this respect. I would say about a year. I think that's reasonable. But after that, we move into, step 3, which is segueing these folks to, getting them back into the workforce. And that's going to be very exciting for them because we're going to be connecting them to employers who will be very interested in bringing them in for the skills, in many cases, the vocational skills that they'll be acquiring through our counselors, correct? And we're going to do a lot of that online, and we also have our huge educational push for civic education through the White House. You know all about that. So they'll have every educational possibility you can imagine. And some of the jobs they step into may be public sector for a while because we're still cleaning the streets, Have you noticed? Yes, all the steam cleaning and polishing the curbs and all the new windows. Right, our skylines are gorgeous again, so we could always use certain people to help us with that. Good. Well, you're being a realist, and I really appreciate that because nothing happens if we're not realistic. Right, so the first engagement will involve reuniting the individuals with their families. If that is not entirely successful, we have the year-long stint at the processing center, which is going to be a wonderful experience for them. And correct, and then the 6-month period of time, which will involve the segue back into the workforce. Which begs the big question. I'm reading your mind. Where are they going to live, right? Well, this is the part of the plan that in some ways is most exciting to me because we have a host of wonderful builders in this country, architects and visionaries. And I've made it a pledge to them that they literally will never pay another tax dollar if they help me with this. Right? Because I want them to build complexes that are not federal housing, but rather built by the private sector, which give these individuals a real chance to live in a safe facility. Now, remember, yes, at this point, exactly. They've already gone through the reunion with their family, hopefully. They've gone through the year period at the processing center where they receive the counseling and the medical care. Exactly, and the prayerful interaction with their spiritual leader of their choice. Do you see? So they're moving into this facility really renewed and revitalized and ready to start their lives anew. We're giving them every advantage possible. Yes, correct. Well, these complexes are going to be quite amazing because they're also going to serve very healthy food. Yes, food that can help them with their addictions, because what our science is teaching us now is that a lot of the addictions people have, there are underlying cellular issues that involve exactly deficiencies and disorders that are really treatable through good bioscience and nature. So we're going to really help them to become healthy as well. Well, these centers are going to be pretty cool, and they'll have fitness rooms and all the rest of it. Well, you make a good point. They may never want to leave those either, right? Well, the truth of the matter is they eventually will, because we are going to make sure that for a period of time, a reasonable period of time, that these rentals are very affordable. But honestly, I don't think it does anyone a favor by artificially subsidizing this process to the point that eventually those housing units don't meet the standards of the free market. And I think that you're talking about people now who have a great deal of dignity, and trust me when I tell you, they'll eventually want to move on or pay the market price for living there. But in many cases, they will simply move on. And it'll be a great success story. We're going to have them at the White House, and we will always stay in touch with them. They'll always know that even if they're once again parted from their families, they're once again without a job, that the locality can reach out, even to me personally. I'll speak to these fine people on the phone. And even if I have to stay up to 2 o'clock in the morning, I will find them a job. Okay? You could write that down. Exactly. We want no people on the street. 0. Right. And we're going to do it. How is your family, by the way? You must be so proud. Well, that's such great news. Excellent. Well, I love being invited to graduations. Can you please coordinate that with my staff? And I'll make a point of being there. Governor, your time is valuable. Yes, and I've enjoyed every moment of this conversation. I just want to give you one bit of advice, if I could. Don't let the naysayers slow you down. I found in my job that I do best when I create very clear plans that are simple and then get them started. Because if we concentrate on all the little problems and stumbling blocks along the way, nothing gets done. It's best just to set out your plan, do it with clarity and vision, and get it going. And you need to do the same thing in your state, and don't let anything stop you. And you can always call me. Good. I think it's been a fantastic conversation. I've enjoyed it, and I look forward to talking again soon. Well, God bless you too. Thank you. Goodbye for now.